Hey, what is up YouTube? Real Weapon here, back with a new video. Today I actually wanted to talk about the new lore on Icathia, which we may or may not know is part of Jax's lore. It talks about in here, he is the last known weapons master of Icathia, right? And it talks about how now he roams Valoran, wielding the last light of Icathia. So, I wanted to talk about this lore a little bit, and I wanted to point out why in this lore this is definitely Jax. But he does take on the role of a different name in this story, which is Jax. My theory to that is he actually is called Jax because they have a different way of giving names in Icathia, I'm pretty sure. So basically this is told from the perspective of Axamuk, Varchoy, Kohari, Icathor. So yeah, it basically talks about the battle that the Icathians faced against the Shuremans. I'm not going to get into the whole lore. I'm not going to read every single quote, but I do want to pinpoint everything that points out this is definitely Jax. And basically talk about why this is really cool, because this is pretty cool, really, because it basically gives us more insight on Jax as a person. It gives us his background rather than, his present lore. It gives us his, his past, what he did in the past, and this is really cool to me. Right here it says easy access to Jax, Kale, Rinks, Kohari, Icathon. So this is his full name. Jax, Kale, Rinks, Kohari, Icathon. Popping a freshly shelled egg into his mouth, and as you may or may not know, Jax does eat eggs. So this is pretty funny because it does actually talk about him offering eggs to people at a certain point, and what he likes is eggs, with vinegar and stuff. And it's just hilarious, in my opinion. At a certain point in the story, it has a bit of humor, and I just find it so random that Jax loves eggs, and it just talks about his love for eggs. It's hilarious to me. I really enjoy his background. And then it talks about this Colgrim guy, which you may or may not know in his lore. He is also testing all warriors he meets to see if any are strong enough to stand beside him. And this Colgrim guy actually is his right-hand man, pretty much. So after that, it talks about Colgrim, and, it says Colgrim was his right hand, a brute with cold eyes and a Bethril tattoo. Though I have never heard of him, talk of his wife, blah blah blah. These men had grown up together and had learned the secret ways of the warriors since they were old enough to hold a blade. So yeah, these guys grew up together and everything. This is really cool because this is oh, so this is probably why Jax is looking for people, because he wants to see if somebody is strong enough to stand beside him, just like Colgrim was. Yeah, it also talks about Jax's posture in here, a little bit. His what's the word I'm looking for? His qualities, I guess. Yeah. It says Jax was the beating heart of the Kohari, a shaven-headed giant with skin pockmarked by the ravages of a childhood illness, and a forked beard stiffened to the points with wax and white chalk. So it also talks about how he had a beard, but we don't know if Jax has a beard because, we just look at him and we just see he wears a mask, and we don't really know why he wears this mask. But I believe a certain part in this story actually gives us a reason why he wears a mask, or gives us a theory on why he wears this mask. So He's a shaven-headed giant with skin pockmarked by the ravages of a childhood illness, and as you may or may not know, he kind of looks a bit odd compared to a normal human being, so this kind of does make sense, in my opinion. And then it talks about, it has a dialogue with him and Axa. Go easy on the lad, Colgrim, says to Jax, slapping my back with one of his massive hands. And as we may or may not know, Jax has massive hands. Meant as a brotherly pat, it riled the teeth in my skull, but I welcomed it all the same. This is just hilarious to me because it just shows, like, how big and how strong of a person or Icathia Jax is. And then it talks about how he shifted the long axe-headed pole arm slung at his shoulder. And as you may or may not have known about Jax, he does definitely wield a lamppost, not a axe-headed pole arm, which we find a bit odd. We're like, well, this isn't like an axe-headed pole arm. What the heck are you talking about? Well, Jax in his old lore, which actually is not in here, they removed that on the Wikia, which is really annoying to me, but in his old lore, he actually was forced to use a lamppost in battle. But it also, I don't know, I think they, like, changed it to, like, he wields the last light of Icathia. So I think he may have ended up, changing his weapons at a certain point. So yeah, I think at first he wielded this polearm, this axe-headed polearm slung at his shoulder. The weapon was immense, its bony haft carved with the names of his forebears, and the blade a slab of razor-edged bronze. Few of our group could even lift it, let alone swing it, but Jax was a master of weapons. Okay, this here is probably the most important paragraph, in my opinion. One of the most important ones. That kind of confirms, okay, this is Jax, because looking at his lore, unmatched in both his skills, oh my god, unmatched in both his skills with unique armaments and his biting sarcasm, Jax is the last known weapons master of Icathia. And, oh my god, did I seriously exit out of the lore? Hold on, let me pull it back up. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah. But, holy crap. Oh, the misclicks, like in League games. But yeah, this pretty much talks about, like, how Jax, like, is this big dude, and he, like, is still pretty mysterious even after this. We're like, well, we still don't know too much about Jax, but this gives us a lot, honestly. This gives us a lot of background on Jax. Reading his lore, it was like, well, he was trying to fight Fiora on a random bridge, and he was eating an egg, and, whatever. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me. Anyways, so it talks about, them going into battle. I don't want to get into all that, because I actually tried to record a video past this one, and it was way too long, so I'm not going to make this long. But it basically talks about, like, how he saw, like, monsters in the void before and all that stuff. I'm going to leave a link below and in my pinned comment for the link for you guys to read this whole lore, honestly. So, yeah, at a certain point I want to find, when he starts talking about, eating eggs or something. Yeah, sensing my gaze, he glanced down at me. Egg, he said. A pair of peeled eggs lay in the palm of his hand. I shook my head. I couldn't eat, not now. I'll take an egg, said Colgrim, taking one and biting it in half. So Jax ate the other one, and the pair of them chewed thoughtfully. The Shreemans drew even closer. Good egg, noted Colgrim. I add a dash of vinegar as I boil them, so Jax replied. Makes them easier to peel. Clever. Thanks. I love this. I absolutely love that. This is a thing about this character. Like, he just loves eating eggs randomly. we kind of make it a meme in our Discord and everything. in on Jax Mains subreddit. Like, we make it a huge meme. Ever since we read about him like eating eggs in this lore. But like, I just find it really funny that they keep referring to that. And this definitely confirms, in my opinion, that this is definitely Jax, because he loves eggs, and it talks about him loving eggs in his actual lore that is confirmed lore for him. So, you know, this is about Icathia, but Jax was part of Icathia, and he's eating eggs, so this is definitely Jax. But yeah, Jax, basically, in this lore, it, shows that Jax was actually leading people into battle. Now roared Jax into them. So Jax was, I'm guessing, like, the head leader of Icathia in terms of battling people, because he was a weapons master, so it does make a ton of sense, honestly. And Colgrim was his, like, the guy by his side. But it does talk about, you know, how Colgrim gets lost in the heat of battle, and Jax does at a certain point. And then Jax tells him to pull back because, you know, the void is coming and all this stuff. And then it talks about the void actually corrupting, like, a god warrior, which they talk about in this lore, which you can read about. But the void actually corrupts people and, like, destroys everything around it. And, you know, it's really nuts reading all this. But yeah, it talks about Axa, like, killing the god warrior that was corrupted, and then we get into this. This is, like, pretty much the 100% confirmation, the ending of the lore, that this is definitely Jax. Okay, so we're like, where does it start? Where he, okay, it talks about, I heard a voice call my name and looked up to see Jax limping towards me. His face was a mask of blood, thanks to a jagged wound that ran from above his right eye to his jawline. So this pretty much, to me, confirms why Jax wears a mask, in my opinion, because he has this screwed up face from his battle in Icathia. And I love how it says this in the next paragraph. I hadn't thought Jax could bleed at all. This, to me, is just like, damn, Jax was really that tough, and he actually bled. That just shows how brutal the battle was. But yeah, then Axe is like, "You're hurt," I said. "It's worse than it looks. Is this the end? For Icathia, I fear it is." And then, you know, the beast, moving away to grab the bridle of a cavalryman's mount. The beast was skittish, but Jax hauled its reins and vaulted into the saddle. "I would have given everything to see the Shurimans defeated," Axa said. "And then, I fear we just did," said Jax. "But we won. The Shurimans are dead, but I'm not sure that's the same thing," said Jax. "Now find them out. We have to go." So this right here is like, dude, he knows what is going to happen. Like, this is pretty much obvious, but to me, this is like, the interaction between these two characters is kind of showing that they are the only two left right now. I don't know. Axa may be along with other warriors. But to me, it seems like, you know, he's only asking Axa to do this, not anybody else. But Axa is pretty meaningful to Jax anyway, so it does kind of make sense that there would be other warriors around still. But anyways, it's like the Shurimans are dead, blah, blah, blah. Go, what are you talking about? Icathia is doomed. You see that, don't you? Not just the city, but our land. Look around you. That will be our fate, too. So Jax knows. He's like, okay, we gotta leave, dude. We're going to die if we don't leave. And then this Axa dude is like, Icathia is my home, dude. I gotta die here. Pretty much is what happens. There's nothing left of Icathia, or at least there won't be soon. He already knows it's going to be destroyed. He extended his hand to take mine, and I shook it. "Axa," he said, casting a glance back at the creeping horror. "There is no hope here." I shook my head and said, "I was born here, and I will die here." There Then hold on to who you are while you still can, lad, he said, and I felt the weight of his sadness and guilt. It's all you have left. So Jax turned his mount and rode away. I never saw him again. Wielding the last light of Icathia. He is the one he never sees again because he ends up dissolving in this next part, pretty much. Yeah, it's a crazy lore actually about Icathia, but it actually gives us a lot of background about Jax, which I'm really happy about. So yeah, guys, I will leave a link in the description below for this lore, and I will also leave it in the pinned comment. I will also leave my Discord, and we can chat there as well. And I hope you all have a nice day, and thank you for watching. Peace out, champs.